The sinking of the submersible Titan on June 18, 2023 was topic of various YouTube videos already. This video isn't a judgment of Mr. Rush or any of the victims. Instead, I will uncover all the evidence of the three that took part in sinking the vessel. The first mistake leading to sink the submersible was the design it was chosen to construct in. The second fatal error was the material chosen for the submersible. The third fatal error was material fatigue. This is depending on how the submersible was built. Before I go further into the sinking of the submersible, we will take a close look at the history of submersibles. The top water goes from 0 to around 200 meters. If you reach 200 meters to 1000 meters, you reach the mesopelagial or midnight zone. If you go even further to 1000 up to 4000 meters, you're reaching the bathopelagial. This part is named after the bathysphere, which has reached the depth of 1340 meters in 1949. At around 3800 meters, you reach the abyssal plain. Only trenches go even further into the deep. The most famous trench is the Mariana Trench, about 200 kilometers south of Guam, with the deepest spot on Earth, the Challenger Deep, with 11,000 meters. The Challenger Deep was first reached by the submersible Trieste in 1960. I will go into this a little further on this video. We will take a look at the bathysphere now. At first it was designed elongated, pretty similar to the submersible Titan. Later this design would change into a sphere, before it was lowered for the first time in 1930. The submersible bathysphere had no engine, nor any way of moving up or down by its own. It was lowered via a crane from a ship. On its first test dive, the submersible wasn't closed completely by accident, so water swept into the hull. Because it was made out of steel, the hull stayed intact, but when it was opened on the deck, the enormous pressure of water trapped inside was released. Because the first test was made unmanned, no one got injured or killed. For every 10 meters increasing in deep, the pressure increases at 1 bar. The first error was the design, because it was elongated. This increases the surface, which can the pressure take part on. Military submarines, even nuclear-powered submarines, don't go any further than 1000 meters. Also, an elongated hull distributes the pressure irregularly. Let's talk about deep-sea exploration a little further, especially the Trieste. In 1960, the Trieste reached the depth of 10,987 meters. This record dive was closely turned into a failure. At a depth of around 5,000 meters, one of the glass windows cracked. It withstood the pressure, so the dive could fortunately be finished. When reaching the world record depth, the Trieste was put out of service. Since modern standards wasn't introduced at this time, and no pressure chamber could do the pressure needed in 11,000 meters, nor was it big enough to put in the Trieste. The Trieste had to make various test dives, including one dive into the Puerto Rico Trench, which is the deepest part of the Atlantic Ocean with a depth of around 7,000 meters. Material fatigue caused by repetitive compression and decompression was just discovered a few years earlier by Boeck. I will go into this a little further on. For all of you who are wondered why I'm suddenly talking about an airplane, the principle of material fatigue is pretty similar to that of a submarine. In 1954, the British airline Boeck lost 3 Comet jets within a few weeks. Only one has been recovered with severe markings of explosive decompression. In order to test the theory of material fatigue, a large water tank was built and a Comet jet was put inside. It was repetitive, compressed and decompressed to simulate flights. After around 5 months, the plane got cracked. Explosive decompression takes part when the air pressure outside is lower than the air pressure within the hull. In a submersible, the pressure inside the hull is lower than the pressure outside of the hull. The submersible will be repetitive compressed and decompressed when surfacing. So in an aircraft, the hull gets stretched because the pressure inside is bigger. In a submersible or submarine, the hull gets compressed, which carbon fiber doesn't like very well. Because you have many strings wrapped together, you have billions of weak spots within the structure itself. The hull was also constructed by wrapping multiple layers of carbon fiber over each other. This construction has another weak point, because bubbles of air can be included in the construction. These bubbles of air added another weak point into the structure. Trapped air bubbles get compressed as well. Not only distributes the hull pressure irregularly, you have also deformations. Gases can also behave very different when put under pressure. They even can liquefy or freeze. Like this footage of methane hydrate discovered in 700 and around 50 meters depth in the Gulf of Mexico. Why was the Titan submersible disaster unavoidable? It was a poor choice in design, it was a poor choice in construction, it was a poor choice in components that were used, and it was a poor choice in the lack of maintenance. The Titan was doomed from its first descending into the depths. The bathysphere has proven that we already figured out the perfect design, the perfect construction material, and maintenance work for a submersible. It's simply impossible to invent a technology that is already fully enhanced. I also want to include a personal note, which I've noticed in many comments. A Formula One safety capsule distributes kinetic energy away from the driver by deforming and splintering, and also absorbing a little bit of this kinetic energy. It's a totally different kind of dynamics. Thanks for watching.